exciting new feature launches. Let's kick off with an update of Spring Deal Days. I hope you're all very much aware of this because it's already live on Amazon. You have received already like tons of communications from our marketing team, but our Spring Deal Days is our upcoming huge deal event starting from March 25th, ending on March 31st. So literally around the corner. Just so you know, this is actually not the only timing where you can maximize your earnings because the press release went out yesterday. So you can absolutely start sharing this with your followers, with your community, create buzz around it, make sure they are aware of the event, and also feel free to start sharing your favorite deals that you can find on Amazon because deals are already out. So make sure to really make the most of this time before, so in the lead up, which is the week we are right now, but also absolutely next week, which is the key and the peak of our event. Why this event is really important. If you think about our Amazon huge deal moments, the last one was Black Friday in November, and the next one is gonna be Prime Day, which usually is over the summer. So basically in the first half of the year, this is gonna be the crucial time where we are gonna have deals across so many categories, products, and brands selling on Amazon. What is your audience and in general our Amazon customers looking for in March and specifically during this event, which are of course all the products that we recommend you sharing to your audience. First of all, it's time to refresh our homes and make sure they are ready for the new season. So think about any kind of cleaning product. Think about organizational items. It's also like time for hopefully the new season and summer and some sunshine. So new clothes, for example, like spring clothing, summer clothing, refresh a bit the wardrobe. And it's also time for outdoor activities. That can be fitness gears to go for a walk outside, but also gardening, any kind of tool or furniture that you can use in your garden. It's also perfect timing for stock up your beauty favorite products, but also upgrade your tech products. So these are the key trends that we see work really, really well. Make sure to start already creating your idea list, update them to your storefront, and start sharing your deals with your community. Super important, before leaving the microphone to Lauren, we have created an exclusive guide for our creators. And in this guide, you will find all the best practices and insights to implement before the event, so in the lead up phase, during the event, and after the event. It really guides you through all the steps. So please scan the QR code that you see in this page and have a look, bookmark it and have a look after the webinar. Just so you know, this page is exclusively for Amazon UK, but we have created, and you should have received them already via email, all the other pages for the other European markets. If not, no worries, keep an eye in your inbox. In the thank you email, we're gonna include all the links as well for you. So now over to Lauren, who is gonna tell us all the super important insights and best practices for Instagram.
Hi everyone, thank you so much Hannah for the introduction. Just to remind everyone about myself, my name is Lauren Willoughby. I'm a strategic partner manager here at Instagram, and my job is helping creators and influencers understand our platforms better, understand how they can reach new audiences, how they can build their brand on Instagram, and hopefully turn their audiences into loyal fans that hopefully will buy products that you promote. So I just want to start off by really kind of diving deep into the different surfaces of Instagram. And what do I mean by different surfaces? So obviously on Instagram, we have lots of different things and lots of different ways that you can share with your community. And we call these surfaces. So we have reels, we have feed, we have stories, we have lives, and we have channels. And these are all really different ways that you can create content to really engage your community. They all have different purposes, they all actually have different algorithms, and we're going to dive deeper into each of these surfaces to really understand how you make the most of each of them. So first is taking a step back and thinking about what are your goals and what you use our different services for. So Reels is very much for gaining new followers and really getting your face out there and really building your brand. Carousels, single photos and stories and lives are really about building your community, building your engagement and really building those loyal fans. And then also with stories, live and broadcast channels, that's when you convert those loyal fans into customers or into people who are going to buy the things that you are promoting. So you should see this as a funnel. Reels is the way that you capture that audience. Stories is where they get to know you and start to build that relationship. And things like lives and broadcast channels is really where you convert them into customers. So as I mentioned before, each of these services have their own algorithm. And everyone is always like, oh, the algorithm, it's this, secretive thing. It's all really complicated. And it is very complicated, and we look at lots of different signals. But I think if we break each of them down, I think it helps you understand what sort of things that we look for and how you can adapt your content to serve each of the algorithms. So the first one is feed. And the main things that we look at is actually the user in terms of the person who follows you rather than your account. So we look at things that they've liked before, they've shared, they've saved, they've commented on. We'll also look at information about the post, so comments, likes, shares, saves, recency and location. And also information about the person who posted it. We'll look at someone's history of interacting with the person who's posted it. So if they've liked and commented on your post before, we'll probably serve more of your content to them. Stories is the algorithm that's probably the most different to most of our services. And sometimes it's the one that creators struggle the most with. And I know from talking to Anna, obviously, it's a service that you guys care about a lot because obviously you can share links on there. So it's a great way to share your affiliate links on it. Now, the most important signals across stories are, we look at people's viewing history of the user and how much they've engaged with the user. But the key thing is we look at how close the accounts are, which can be really hard for creators because we prioritize people's friends and family. So when you go onto your stories tray, the first people tend to be your friends and family. Now, the way that creators can get around this is by making their account kind of work with their fans that make the algorithm think that they are friends and family. So commenting back to your fans can really help with stories algorithm. DMing your fans back can really help with stories algorithm. If we see that two accounts are DMing each other, we think that they're probably friends. So things like that and engaging with your community is super, super important. And I know it can feel time consuming, but definitely, set aside some time each week to just really engage with your community and make them feel that you're really paying attention to when they comment or when they DM you. Explore, we'll look at, again, information about the post. We'll look at a user's activity in Explore. Now, everybody's Explore page is very different to each other's. Mine's full of reality TV because that's what I'm into. Anna's might be around puppies. When you go on your friend's Instagram, you go on their Explore page, it'll be vastly different to things that show up on your Explore page, and that's how it's meant to be. We'll also look at what things they've in the past clicked on through Explore because that shows that we're recommending the content that they probably want to see. Reels is a huge part of our platform, and how kind of this differentiates, like that algorithm differentiates to things like feed and stories is we look at things like audio. So we look at if it's using maybe a trend in sound that's maybe part of a trend or a challenge, and if someone has been viewing a lot of content with that sound, we recognise they probably like that trend or challenge, so we're going to recommend more of that content. We also take note if someone has clicked on your audio, as that's a strong signal to the algorithm that you're inspiring them to recreate a reel. And that's the behaviour we want. We want someone to watch your reel, feel really inspired, and think, I'm going to try and make a reel using that same audio. So thinking about how you use music in your reels is really important. We have something called templates. So when you upload a reel and you've created it in the Instagram app and you've cut little clips out of it, we will often make that into a template and see if people click on that template and try and use it to make their own reel, because we want this behaviour of people being inspired by your content. And then search. So we will look at the accounts that the user follows and see if when you're typing something in, the linked accounts that make sense with what you've typed in. We'll look at someone's history of interacting with the person who has posted as well. So I'm going to dive deeper into each of these services, so don't worry if I talked quite quickly and you didn't catch all of those. So the first one is Reels. Now, Reels is a really important part of Instagram, again, because it's mainly the way that people grow their audience. It's also the way that people mainly build their brand. Around 50% of time spent on Instagram is on Reels. So if you're not posting a lot of Reels, you're losing all of the people who are spending time on our platform watching Reels. And the question I get the most is like, right, I know I need to be posting Reels, but what sort of content is performing well in Reels? And when I look at the creators I work with, their best performing content tends to fit in one of these three categories. Now the examples I give doesn't mean that you have to do these exact things, but you can take the basics of it and think about how does that work in my content. So the first one is relatable content. And with all of these best practices, you should think about how you tie in, you talking about the products that you are promoting and using your affiliate links. So using it in a relatable way. And that means like you relate to it because you are a girl, you relate to it because you're from a specific background, you relate to it because you grew up in a specific area. Maybe it's a bit funny content. People tend to save relatable content a lot more than other content. They tend to share it to their stories the most and share it via DMs. And again, they're the signals that we look for. We look at if it's sparking conversation in DMs. We look at if people are sharing it to stories because they're sharing it with their community. In terms of relatability, it could be that you're a parent and you are talking about getting your kids ready for school again, and you're talking about the different products you've bought to help them get ready for school, or it's like school holidays, they're breaking up for Easter, thinking of the fun activities you're going to do. It's just making it relatable for other people to relate to. The next one is trends and timely topics, and this is a huge spectrum. So we have the most obvious trends of this song's really popular and everyone's doing this transition or this challenge, which works really well because again, as I mentioned before, we look at if people click on your audio, and that's a strong signal that you're inspiring them to recreate. We also look at if you're engaging in timely topics, so things like Easter, Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's Day. If we recognise that people are watching a lot of content, like Halloween is a huge topic on our platform. We see a lot of growth, a lot of people posting around Halloween and a lot of people viewing around Halloween content. Having your content be tied to this timely topic helps it with what we call chaining. So if, say me as a user, I'm watching a lot of content related to Christmas, and then you post something a piece of content that relates to Christmas, and we know that from maybe the music you choose, maybe words in your caption, maybe hashtags you use, we can get that it's part of a topic, and we'll recommend your reel to people who are enjoying that topic. Now it can be cultural moments, or it could be things that are happening in pop culture or things that go viral. So say for example, when a food trend goes viral, so maybe it's like the feta pasta, recreating that, but maybe if you are someone who does a lot of affiliates around like homeware or kitchenware, it's weaving that into that. So it's like still tying it into the timely topic of like, this is a real big trend, but weaving in your products that you're promoting into that content. And this is how you do it in a really natural way. And you'll notice this, and I'm sure I'll probably get a lot of questions around branded content, but the most effective branded content is when it feels really organic and really authentic, and it just slots into your content like all of your other reels. When it feels very different to the rest of your content, that's when it doesn't perform as well. If it really weaves into kind of like your everyday content, then it performs better. Also things around just timely things that people are talking about. So that can be things like movies or things that happen in the music or pop culture things like Met Gala or other award shows. So say for example, when the Barbie movie came out, Pink content was doing really well on our platform, and people using the Barbie music or hashtagging Barbie. Even if the content was nothing about the Barbie movie, just Pink content was doing really well. Just really thinking about what sort of things people are going to be talking about online. Now, some of these things you can pre-plan, and I do recommend, especially when you are busy, trying to plan out a calendar for the year, putting in those cultural moments, putting in those, like, you know, looking at what you know, film releases are coming out, TV shows are coming out, because even things like, say for example, Netflix shows like Bridgerton and stuff, like that inspires a lot of like traditional content, tea party content that you can then talk about, you know, picnic things that you've bought, really tying it into cultural things or things happening in the world. And then finally is repetitive formats. So this could be as formal as a series, or it might just be something repetitive that you do in each of your videos. So it might be something that you say at the start of the video. The reason this content does really well is people start to recognize it. So if people don't already follow you, they start to recognize the format, and they, after a while, think, I'm really enjoying this format, I'm going to give this person a follow. Again, this is a really nice way for you to incorporate the products that you are enjoying as well. If it's part of a series that you do organically that you don't normally, you know, promote your products in, doing this format and then promoting your products in it is a really natural way to start weaving in the products that you want to promote. Also, have a look at your past, like good performing content, and think, how do I recreate that? How do I do maybe a part 2, a part 3, part 4? You should be constantly looking back at your insights, looking at what works and what doesn't work, and really building on that. So I just want to go through some examples of creators who've been doing really well from their real strategies. So this is Jake Fleming, who's a fashion creator. And the things that really have helped him grow his account are really having strong starts to his video. So the first 3 seconds are super important. You as the creator should be in the first 3 seconds. It should be, you know, either your face or your body. If you're promoting a product, put that in the first 3 seconds as well. Also adding text to your video to explain what the video is about. Maybe it's like back to school preparation, maybe it's like Easter barbecue, content around Easter barbecue. Really explain what the video is going to be about via text in the first 3 seconds. He uses things like shock factor and stuff to really gain people's attention and keep them watching. Being really visual, making sure your content is really eye-catching, and also having a mixture of educational content, but also adding a comedic flair. We find that content that shows your personality, shows your sense of humour, performs really well. This next creator is a comedy creator. Again, he utilizes text in the first 3 seconds. One thing he does really well is lean into tentpole moments. So again, going back to cultural moments, New Year's Eve, Easter, summer holidays, maybe you're going away on holiday and you're buying products for the things to get you ready for going on holiday. Really weaving it into, this is the situation I'm in, and it's around a cultural moment, using that in the caption, making sure the content feels really inspired by that moment. And this is a way that people can see it in situations. Also, relatable topics as well. So a lot of his skits are around kind of like, he's Hispanic, so he compares Hispanic parents to other parents and the comedy in that. And again, this helps him sort of get his fans to share it to stories shared by a DM because they relate to it. And he's really good at storytelling his videos, so it has an intro, it has a middle and an end, and it has a repetitive format. This is the food creator called Albert Can Cook. He has a really cool editing style. He uses ASMR style editing for his cooking videos. He uses a real repetitive format, so he's known for his iconic crying intro, and he remakes famous dishes from chain restaurants from scratch. So again, if this is the type of products, you know, kitchenware is the type of products that you are promoting on your page, this is how you could weave it in with your repetitive formats that you keep recreating. And then he collaborates with other content creators as well in the food space, and I think that's something that is a really great way to tap into other people's audiences as well. Content creating can be quite a lonely thing, and actually it's really nice to engage with other content creators in the space and help each other thrive and grow.
Lauren, I love that you are actually like talking about repetition because this is definitely like a key to grow on Instagram, but also a key to grow their Amazon sales. Like what we see that really tend to perform best is when a creator repeat, they identify their bestsellers and they repeat them multiple times because at the end of the day, we all want to hear why a product is worth buying. So one point that I really want to emphasize to all our audience today is very much look at your report, find your Amazon bestsellers, keep sharing. Don't be scared to share the same product multiple times because your audience needs to kind of be convinced that the product is really worth the purchase. So feel free to share them multiple times in the format that Lauren is explaining and just like share the benefits of the products, mainly like using them. So you also can, like you are gonna be showcased in the reel as well, not just the product, but you really showcase to your audience how you use the product, why you love the product, and why it could be very beneficial for your audience to purchase that. So really key this repetition in terms of formatting, but also best-selling product.
And I think, like Anna said, you keep promoting that same product just shows that you really love it. And I know it's the same in sort of like TV advertising. Like a user needs to see the advertisement quite a few times to be convinced. It's not just one time they see something, they think, oh, I'm going to buy it. Like having that repetitive and keep reminding them of like why it's amazing, showing the different ways that you use it really helps. One thing that I just wanted to put on everyone's radar is a new feature that we launched called Trial Reels. So one of the main things I hear from creators is that they are scared to try out new content formats, or maybe they feel like they have a niche and they want to try other styles of content, but they're a bit nervous or a bit scared to kind of go out of their niche. And this is something that we really want to encourage people to do. We really want people to try new things, to kind of step out of their niche. In terms of your viewers, they aren't in a niche. So, I love fashion, but I'm also trying to go on a health journey as well. So I'm interested in content to do with that. I also like, I live in London. I like to learn about new restaurants in London. Like, I'm trying to, become a better cook. Like, I have different aspects of my life, so don't worry too much about kind of only just, staying in your niche and never talking about any other types of content. Trial Reels is a way that you can upload a reel and you can put it in the status of a trial reel, and it will just serve it to a small percentage of people who don't follow you. And then you can look at how it's performing, and it will tell you whether it's performing well. And then you can toggle on for it to be shared like a normal reel to the people who follow you and for the rest of the world as well. Now the idea is that you do this a few times and you start to, feel a bit more relaxed of like, oh, actually, when I do step out of my comfort zone, it does work, and actually people are really engaging with this. So it's not that we think that everything you do now needs to be a trial reel. It's just if you are feeling a bit nervous of trying something new, or you are wanting to, maybe you're a fashion creator and you do want to do more sort of like homeware content, it's just a way that you can trial it to make it feel less nerve-wracking. So you can see this, everyone should hopefully have access to this now. If not, you just need to update your app. But it's a really nice way to try out something new. The next one is feed. Now, I would say 80% of my conversations with creators is getting them to not obsess about their grid and not obsess about their content being perfect. When you obsess about your content being perfect, then you don't post as much, and your fans miss out on some really great content just because it maybe wasn't absolutely perfect. Not that many people go to your grid, to be honest. Like, mainly people just scroll through Instagram or scroll through the Reels tab. So really just focus on making that individual reel or that individual carousel really amazing, having a strong start, all of these things. And actually what we find, I'm sure maybe some people might ask this in the questions, but whether to film on mobile versus a professional camera. Now, the algorithm doesn't pick one over the other, but we actually find a lot of the creators I work with, their mobile content sometimes perform better because it just feels a bit more real and authentic. Now, you do need to think about kind of like it being good quality, obviously having great lighting, having a clear picture, thinking about your surroundings. But you don't need all of this really fancy, high-tech equipment to get started. Just really showcasing your personality, showcasing your relatability and your authenticity is really what helps a reel perform well. Leveraging carousels and dumps. So this is something that has really grown in the past year. One thing that is a recent update is that carousels with music also get recommended in the Reels tab, so again, to help you grow your audience. And it's just a really great way to tell a story of the day. So maybe if you are doing content around Easter, maybe you do a reel of the day and stuff, and then you do a carousel of all of the different things that you bought to help you put together this event and stuff. Like just really making it fun and having a mixture of like some kind of like more stylized photos, more sort of candid photos, just really telling the story of a day or of a week. And then again, it's super, super important to engage with your comments, to engage with your community. One thing that I find is, and I work with a ton of different creators, I work with some creators who have huge followings, but, if they wanted to promote a product, no one really buys it because they don't really spend the time engaging with their community, building that relationship, building that trust, which is probably the key thing to help them, when they do want to promote a product, that people are going to be like, oh, I trust this person, I feel connected to them, I'm going to buy that product that they're promoting. And one thing that we have recently launched is that you can pin comments and share the comments to your stories as well. So if someone leaves maybe you've promoted a product in the past and they leave a comment being like, I bought this after you promoted it, I love it so much. Maybe you could share that comment to your stories because it's a bit, I guess it's like a bit of like a review, a bit of, you've recommended something to someone, they bought it, they've loved it, so share that to your stories. And when you share people's comments, it tends to result in more people commenting as well.
Lauren, on this, I actually see many reels, many posts where creators showcase products, and then there are so many comments saying, where is the product from? Without the creator replying. So to everyone listening, it's really, really important to have a community and not an audience. Engage with your followers. This is gonna be crucial for your engagement when it comes to social media, but also for your sales on Amazon. Because if you leave, the comments blank, then they might not ask again, for another link because you're not replying to them. So that it creates that kind of circle. But you're also losing commissions because they're clearly interested into that product. So most likely they will also purchase it if they have the link. So super, super important to always reply to DMs. Take that time every day, every other day, to go through your comments, through your DMs, and share those links. Reply to your audience and create that really valuable and trustworthy community. 100% recommended.
So going on to stories, which, like I mentioned before, sometimes can be the hardest one for creators to crack. But just the emphasis on the family and friends approach. So it's really, again, doubling down on what Anna just said, really building that strong relationship with your audience, commenting back to them, DMing them back. That really helps the algorithm think that you guys are connected and that when you do post a story that they will be interested in it. Making your post interactive, so using things like our Q&A sticker, using polls and stuff like that. Use those as well to help inform what sort of things your audience wants to see. Sometimes a lot of creators I work with, they kind of have a bit of a brain freeze. They're like, oh, I'm not really sure. Ask your audience, use those interactive tools to help guide you. And then also finally, storytelling whilst promoting your products. So I always say, make your audience feel like they are on, a video call with you and that you're just saying, oh, I've just bought this and it's amazing and stuff and also storytelling how, why you bought it, what you're going to use it for. So say, for example, there's a creator I love called Amelia Liana, and she's a fashion creator, and when she's doing her Get Ready With Me's, she's telling me what she's wearing this, outfit for, whether she's going on a date, she's packing for a girl's holiday in Ibiza. Like, I just feel invested because I know what this is for. And it's the same when you're promoting your products as well, of like telling them the story of like, maybe you were having an issue and this product has really saved your life, sounds dramatic, but it's really helped you with that issue. Or it's, you're preparing for something and these are the things that you've bought to help you with preparing for that. Really telling the story of why you've made that purchase and make it feel really authentic and relatable, but again, make it feel like you're just on FaceTime or, WhatsApp video, just telling your friends about it. It should feel really natural. And then finally, broadcast channels, which is one of our kind of most recent launches, and I think is really interesting for everyone on the call here. And when Anna and I were talking in preparation for this, something that was really interesting is that, broadcast channels don't rely on algorithms. So when you create a broadcast channel, it will send a notification to all of your followers telling them that you've made a broadcast channel and asking if they want to join it. It's really key to make that first message in your broadcast channel detailed in what this broadcast channel is going to be about. What you're going to post in there, and just let the audience like set expectations. So if it's like, this is going to be where I post all of my affiliate links for the products that I'm promoting, say that. If it's more of a chit chat and it's going to be, a bit of fashion, a bit of fitness, say that. Like, really explain in that first message what it's going to be, because that will send it out. You also kind of, after that initial message, you can also keep promoting your broadcast channel on stories. So if you go to make a story, you swipe up to what we call the sticker tray. There is a sticker for your broadcast channel which you can click on, and then that will post a story, and if people click on that sticker, it will take them to join the broadcast channel. As I mentioned before, it's not based on an algorithm, so once people join and you message in there, it will go to their DM. So the thing that's really great about it is you have predictable reach. So sort of each time, this is around about the amount of people who receive my message and open it. And it's a direct line to your audience as well. And the people in your broadcast channel will be your hardcore fans. They are your loyal followers. So again, thinking of that funnel, Reels is the place that you grow your audience. People tend to discover you. It's where you build your brand. Stories is where you convert those followers into more of a loyal audience. And then you then convert them hopefully to join your broadcast channel, which is really where they start to buy off you and are really interested in the products that you recommend. Keeping it casual but meaningful interactions. So there's loads of different ways you can share in there. Obviously you can share links, you can write text. Voice notes do really well as well, because I think, having that human sort of voice really helps. And definitely if it's about a product you're excited about, doing a voice note to explain why you're really excited about it. Again, polls, and when we launched this, fans actually couldn't comment back in there, but we sort of a few months ago allowed them that they can start commenting back, so you can also see the feedback. And it's also a way to drive community at scale. Again, going back to, it's really important to DM people back, but this is a really easy way to keep your fans updated on things that you have going on. It's also a really great way to tease things or remind them. I say use your broadcast channel a bit like how back in the day people would use newsletters. It's you build up that hype before things, you could get people excited. So then when it happened, they were ready and they knew it was coming. Also, if there's something that you want to give, something special you want to give them first access to something, that's great. I just want to read through a few stats. So users who join broadcast channels tend to have 2.2 more interactions on average than all followers. So in general, the people who join your broadcast channel are 2 times more likely to engage with your content. So again, it really is those die-hard loyal fans. So if you have something that you really want to promote, these are the people who are going to be buying it off you. I'm sure we'll hopefully, have some more questions about this. One thing I did want to mention is that you can have multiple broadcast channels. I think you can have up to 10. Now, I wouldn't personally do 10. I think 10 is a lot to manage. Why do people have multiple? Now, some people don't. A lot of my creators just have one where they share all of their links, they engage with their community. Some of my creators have 2 or 3 if they want to have maybe one general one, and then they want to have 1 or 2 other ones that are very focused on a specific niche. Or they just know that it's not really something that all of their audience is interested in. For example, I work with a lot of fashion and beauty creators who at some point in their life become a parent, and they still want to focus on their fashion and beauty content, but they know a lot of their audience also want to hear parenting advice. They also want to hear of the products that you're buying sort of on this journey, but they get that not all of their audience is a parent, so maybe not all of their audience is interested in it. So they make a broadcast channel that's just for, their followers who are interested in seeing that content. The same with creators who maybe are on a healthy eating journey or a fitness journey, and they want to stay along that journey, and they want to hear what you're recommending, things that you've bought for that. Again, maybe not all of your audience is interested in that if you are mainly a fashion and beauty creator. So it's really if you want to dive deep on those specific topics. So it's up to you how you do it. I think if you want to, I'd start off with just one and just start to build that up. And then if you think, we've got the hang of this and actually want to dive deeper on this specific topic, feel free to make a second one as well. And I would share in there probably sort of at least a few times a week, maybe 2-3 times a week, and just make sure that you are engaging with it. Again, don't overthink it. I do think you need to have a plan and have a think about what sort of things you're going to share in there versus what you share on stories. But again, I think one of the biggest issues we have on Instagram is sometimes people overthink things too much, so they never get started on stuff. And I think, Anna, I'm sure you'll jump in, especially because you can share links in here, and also because it's not affected by the algorithm, I think this is a really great place to share your affiliate links.
Indeed, it's actually a really great platform. And Spring Deal Days is next week. So you can already start creating this as soon as possible and leverage the upcoming deal event to test it out, to see how your audience responds. Super important, as Lauren mentioned, is be transparent. Don't be scared to say, look, in this broadcast channel, I'm gonna share mainly links, for example, my favorite Amazon product. And creating that series also, we tend to see a very good performance in terms of conversion and sales. So having, for example, when it comes to Spring Deal Days, you can say every day I will share the top 10 favorite deals, favorite products, favorite offers that I find. So then you create that series, you share links, you keep your audience engaged, and you are transparent because they know what to expect in this channel. So if they are there, it's because they are interested in the topic and everything you share there. And also they will most likely convert and really buy those products, as Lauren mentioned as well.
I'm conscious of time and we want to make sure that we answer people's questions. So I'm not going to cover threads in this because I just, before we jump onto Q&A, I just want to give a little teaser on some products that we're launching soon that I think are really exciting for all of you to learn about. So hopefully over the next month, it will depend what country you live in. I think probably more likely these things will release in the UK before the rest of Europe and other regions. But we have 2 exciting launches that are coming up soon. So the first one is AI characters, which is such a new sort of concept and really something that is very exciting. I know probably a lot of you guys have heard of AI's coming, AI is, going to be really important in the world. We are really starting to think about how we build AI into our platform not to replace creators, but more to how AI can help them with engaging their community, with building their audience. So AI characters are interactive, personalized entities that can answer questions, provide creative inspiration, and entertain audiences. Like I mentioned, they're not meant to replace humans, but rather offer additional ways for fans to engage with their favorite creators. One thing I will flag is when this is launched, it will very much be like the first version. I think with everything with AI, you have to think of like the long-term vision. So the first version will be very much like you create a character. Now it won't be sort of based on you. It could be based on, like in the US, we've seen some food creators base it on like something's funny, like a salt shaker, or it could be like, say if you're a parent creator, it's like around like a character of a nanny or something like that. It will have its own character, so it's written in the third person, not written as if it's you. And then you can teach it to give specific prompts that your audience can engage with. Now, the first version probably won't launch with it being able to send links, but I think my hope is that eventually it will have that capability. So if your audience wants to be like, oh, you know, what hair tools would you recommend for a blow dry, or what things would you recommend? Hopefully in the long term, it will be able to look at things and links that you've promoted in the past and suggest those links to them. The first version won't be as high tech as that, but again, it's really focusing on the long-term vision for this. And the second one is edits, which you can sign up for in the App Store so that when it launches, it does come onto your phone. This is going to be our app where you can film, record, edit all of your content, and we're going to have much better recording quality and much better editing tools than what we have in Instagram at the moment. So things like a better stacked timeline, we will have tools where you can turn photos into videos, really ways for you to make your content a lot better and in a lot easier way. It'll also have better insights for how your reels are performing as well. So you can look at how things are performing and help with your future strategy. One thing that I just wanted to say is that hopefully in the next few months, as these things do start to launch, if people would be interested in kind of coming to webinars or education sessions on these, if you scan this QR code, this is a way, it will take you to a form where you can express your interest if you would like to be invited to those webinars when they do happen. So I'll just leave this on the screen. Hopefully it will let everyone click onto it. And I think with that, I think we actually have finished it. So I'll just stop sharing and hopefully get look through some of the questions. So I think one thing I will note is if it's a question that's very specific to your account, that might be hard for me to answer on this because I would have to look into those things. But if it's more general ones, I'll be able to help with that. So someone has asked about monetization on Instagram. So obviously there's different ways to monetize on Instagram. So obviously the main way is through branded content and affiliate links and things like that. So that's probably the main way globally people earn money on Instagram, and that can be a really lucrative way of earning money. We also do have other monetization options like subscriptions. In the UK and in Europe, we don't have things like ad revenue at the moment. That might change in the future, but at the moment we don't have anything coming up soon. Someone, let me just have a look. Oh, this is a really good one actually that I get asked a lot about, you know, do we downrank content that shares external links, or do we downrank content that is branded content? No. And it kind of ties back to that question I just had then of like, at the moment, especially in Europe, we don't have loads of ways for people to monetize on Instagram. So the main way creators are earning money on our platform is by sharing links, is by doing branded content. Now, if creators weren't making money using our platforms in that way, then they'd stop investing in our platform. They'd probably go to other platforms and post it on there. And that's a big issue for us. If they don't feel like they are making money or they're able to promote the product, they're not going to invest in our platform. So we don't downrank content that shares external links, and we don't downrank content that uses branded content. One thing I will say is that sometimes when you are promoting a product or you're doing branded content, the content feels very different to your other content. It feels like super salesy and it just doesn't feel authentic. And again, it's going back to that, maybe having repetitive formats that, sometimes you don't promote products in, but then, when you are promoting products, so it just feels more natural, people are used to that format. Also making it feel just more authentic and stuff, and it doesn't feel, obviously it needs to, when things are an ad and stuff, it needs to declare it's an ad, but like, it just feels a lot more natural. The issue we have when we look at a lot of branded content or content promoting products is it feels super different to the rest of their content, so it won't perform the same. But we don't downrank content that has external links or branded content tags. So someone's asked about trial reels. The reel is shown to non-followers, but after is it shown to our audience? So when you first do a trial reel, yes, it'll just be shown not to everyone who's a non-follower, just to a small percentage. And then when you go to it, it will show you how it's performing, and then you can choose whether you want to post it as a normal reel. At that stage, when you post it as a normal reel, it'll go to people who follow you and to the rest of the world as well. Someone has put, I was wondering if previous Instagram content is, if my previous Instagram content is different to my new content I'm planning, should I delete it or start a complete new account? I never believe in really deleting content. I think people just evolve. Like when I think of like the content I was sharing maybe as a teenager, my life has evolved, your audience's lives evolve. So I think that's really normal. I'd say if it's like a completely different thing, if you've built your audience on like fashion and beauty and now you're just going to do skateboarding content or something, like I feel like maybe that would then, you would create a new account. But again, going back to, sorry, I'm really stereotyping girls here, but like, I'm a girl, I like fashion and beauty. I also like need to eat, so I also need to learn how to cook. Like there's different, I am hoping to buy a house. I'll need to buy stuff for my new house. Like you have different aspects of your life. So I think if it all ties into things that, your audience might be interested in, if it's something completely different, then maybe start a new account. But I think in general, like you can just evolve your account. And I wouldn't believe in deleting content. I think it's fine. One thing that I'm seeing a lot around commenting, and I do want to flag, is that we really look at what things people are commenting as well. So it's really important whether it's in your reel or it's in your comments, if you are encouraging people to comment, that you're asking open-ended questions. We want to see people writing lots of different things. So we really look at, if you're asking open-ended questions and if they're, joining in the conversation and you're joining in back. So that's really important to encourage that. Oh, this is a really good question. And I'm sorry, like they said, it feels a bit overwhelming, which it does. And I feel like obviously, having it all presented here at once, like is a lot of information, which I fully get. So there's so many different ways to share content. Do you have any tips on how to make good use of all of the channels without getting stuck and overwhelmed? This is something I hear a lot. I think the first thing is around sort of planning out your content. And just setting aside some time each week to plan out what you are wanting to post on reels, what you're wanting to post on stories, maybe what you're wanting to post on carousels. And again, going back to, if you have a day and you are doing content that's all around kind of spring deals and maybe Easter or something, think about how you make different pieces of content out of that day. So one might be a reel, and that is you like a roundup of everything you bought to get ready for this party that you're doing. And then the carousel could be photos from the party and including some of the products that you bought for that. And then the story is like just the behind the scenes of like you chatting to camera, of like the more sort of like simple, like less edited content of different things that happen throughout the day. So it's about each thing that you're filming, thinking about how you get different pieces of content out of it. But definitely planning ahead really helps with that. And maybe it isn't that you do all of these surfaces all at once. You know, maybe if you're already struggling with kind of like keeping up, like maybe it's just about without adding like a whole new surface onto that, it's just really getting into the flow of your content at the moment, setting yourself challenges. So it's like, okay, if at the moment you're not very active on like your reels and your stories, maybe in the next 3 months, it's setting yourself a target of like, okay, I want to get to posting 3 or 4 reels per week, and maybe 3 stories a day. Setting yourself that target for 3 months, and then maybe after that 3 months, it's like, okay, my goal for the next 3 months is maybe starting out a broadcast channel and stuff. It's like maybe taking it a few months at a time, giving yourself challenges. I don't know whether anyone has asked this actually, but I know Anna said probably a lot of people ask you of like how many reels and stuff people should post per week. We try not to say exact numbers just because everyone's life is different in terms of capacity. In general, if you are a creator and you're doing this full time, I would say you should be trying to post 4 to 5 reels per week. Now there are some, like I have creators who post every day, and that's great. There's no such thing as overposting, especially because we have an algorithm. Not everyone will see every piece of content. So there's no such thing as overposting. If we understand that if someone doesn't do this full time, maybe they're in school, maybe they have a full-time job on top of this, or they, just life is busy. Like, don't stress about it. Really, say if at the moment you're only doing 2 a week, maybe set yourself a goal of like getting to 3 a week, and then when you've got into that rhythm, setting yourself a goal of getting to 4 a week. So I'd say 4 to 5 is like where everyone should aim for. If you can do more than that, then that's absolutely fine. Do do do.
Just one note for everyone here, because I'm seeing like some questions around, like how to better share links on Amazon, for example. So any Amazon related questions, they're way more like for Instagram, of course. But just so you know, we have launched months ago our Creator University, which you all can find if you log in your Associate Central. There will be a banner at the top that literally says Creator University. If you click there, you will find all the step-by-step guides, best practices, insights on how to create links, view your report, find the best products on Amazon. So feel free to log in there and find that page. That will be super helpful, and we give you all the information you need.
Oh, sorry, Anna, were you going to say?
No. I think, just looking at timing, shall we do the last like 2 questions maybe?
Yeah. One that I do want to talk about, because I don't know whether a lot of people ask me this, but it is something that I get a lot, is around shadow banning and all of that. So the word shadow banning isn't really a word that we use. It's just something that like kind of is out there in the universe. We don't just randomly decide like this account's not getting any reach, this account's not getting any reach. There's 2 things that we do look at though. If people do post stuff that goes against our community standards, they potentially might go into a state where we'd stop recommending them. Now their fans and followers can still see them, the fans and followers will still see their stories, but we might not be able to recommend them to people outside of their audience. One thing that probably a year or 2 ago we built is in your settings, you can find something called account status. And this is really a way that we're trying to be a bit more transparent of when your account does go into that state of being like non-recommendable. So it's basically like a traffic light system, and it will show you if your account's being recommended or not being recommended. And if it's not being recommended, what thing you posted that put you in that state. And it's not a forever thing that you'll be in that state, but I think that sometimes when people are unsure, that's the first thing they think of and being shadow banned. The main thing you need to look is it in your account status, if there's anything there that isn't green. And oftentimes if it's stuff you've posted, it gives you the option to appeal it if you think we've made a mistake. The other thing is as well, sometimes there's topics that people post that we allow on the platform, but we can't recommend to people. And these are things that are either sensitive topics or maybe they're not appropriate for younger audiences. But I definitely would check out your account status if you have any worries about how your account's performing. Oh, let's finish on this one actually, because I feel everyone's going to ask this. Hashtags. In general, I would say hashtags don't do loads for your content, being really honest. I feel like it's not like other platforms where it's a real, like, say something like YouTube where it's really based on SEO. You should use hashtags, but just make it describe what it is that you're talking about in your reels. So if it is maybe if Amazon's using a specific hashtag and they want you to use it, use that hashtag. If it is content around Halloween, hashtag Halloween. You don't need to do like 20 hashtags, all of these like very generic words. Using hashtag explore doesn't help you get onto the explore page, but definitely help whether it's like back to school tips or parent hacks or things that really tie into what your content is about. If it's about a trending topic, if it's about a timely event, use that. But I don't think it makes or breaks your content. I think just making your content really sort of authentic and engaging is really what makes or break it. But I know that's a question I get asked a lot, so I feel that's a good one to end it on.
Yeah, I love that we ended with this because, I can see tons of questions around hashtags, and it's definitely something that we get as well. So thank you so much, Lauren, for guiding us through all these best practices, tips, algorithm as well. Just a reminder for everyone, I really hope that this was insightful. What I strongly recommend is take all your notes, digest them, and really start implementing them as soon as possible. Test out, don't be scared to try different formats, and remember to share all your favorite deals around Spring Deals Days, which is, again, just around the corner. So make the most out of it, make the most out of all the tips that Lauren shared with us today. And have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining. Lauren, thank you so much as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye. Have a lovely day.
Bye, everyone.